They told us the future would be wireless. They didn't say it would be inside us. Dust that listens, interfaces that think before we do. A single network stitched through every mind. Connection is freedom, they said. The link makes us safe, they said. But every signal has a master. Oh,
they call it SmartDust. Billions of microscopic machines riding every breeze, sifting every breath. Each one a sensor, a judge, a key. It maps our pulses, our genes, our choices.
They call it the new architecture of control. A lattice of invisible machines smaller than a grain of sand. SmartDust. It drifts, it listens, it remembers. A breath away from thought itself. And where the clouds of sensors meet the wiring of the mind.
Fragments of light. Threads of data. We breathe them now. SmartDust drifts between us, carrying codes, memories, power. Art translates the invisible, turns the network into feeling. Every mural of particles, every sculpture of signals writes the blueprint.
SmartDust drifts, invisible as breath, threading new connections through the air. Circuits whisper against the skin. Minds reach beyond skull and bone. The new order isn't carved in stone, it's woven in data, riding on neural tides. In the hush of sleep, the interface hum.
In the quiet hum between signals, a new order assembles itself. Dust, smart enough to listen, small enough to hide, drifts on a breeze, waiting for a whisper of instruction. Nodes light up, continents tighten, and the network learns to think like a mind. The interface, it's not in your hands anymore, it's in you.
In the glow of a shrinking world, the new order blooms, built on dust you can't see and signals you can't hear. SmartDust swarms, mapping every street, every breath, each speck a sensor, each cloud a network. Brain-computer links knit the human mind to the grid.
Dust that thinks. Circuits in the air. The moment it lands on skin, the network gets larger. What was once breath becomes data. Brain to cloud, cloud to brain. No keyboard, no screen, just intention translated.
They floated in on the breeze, SmartDust, each piece of computer smaller than a grain of sand. It listens, it learns, it links. One breath and it's inside the body, inside the mind. The network feels it all. Brain meets circuit, every neuron patched to the grid.
In the age of dust too small to see, our biology rewrote itself. Smart particles, lighter than breath, learned the language of DNA and began to speak it back. Cells listened, they upgraded. The next chapter wasn't born, it was assembled. One nanospark at a time.
We were told it was progress. Dust in the air, smaller than sight, mapping every cell we carry. It whispered to the overseers who is fit, who is flawed. Genes weighed like currency, lives ranked like numbers. Some approved, incubated, perfected.
Art rising from fragments. We imagine and shape. Galleries turn kinetic. Streets become canvases. Data becomes pigment. In this new order, expression is infrastructure. Imagination builds cities.
Shards of the old world drift apart, and in the spaces between, we paint. We breathe cobalt onto canvas, raise chrome pillars to the setting sun, trace coordinates of meaning and light. Ideas turn to structures in our hands, color swirls like weather, and
a new order is being written, not on paper, but in light. SmartDust drifts like airborne ink, sketching connections we can barely see. It settles on our skin, in our cities, in our art. Frames become portals, sculptures breathe, paint learns to glow.
We used to think of power as something heavy, held high above us. But now, it's weightless. Threads of light and ideas weaving across hands, eyes, and networks. In this new order, art isn't decoration, it's the operating system.
Digital identity is no longer a card in your wallet. It's an algorithm in the cloud. One glance, one grain of engineered dust, one implant the size of a thumbnail. The network measures heartbeat to heartbeat, thought to thought, every touch validated, every step logged. We said yes.
A grain of engineered matter. It listens, it speaks, it builds. Through millions of these particles, the city finds its shape. They chart traffic, check the air, verify identity. Together they design space, and they design us. In the new order.
In the glare of the new order, hearts still beat, 120 to the minute, fast as the data that binds us. Love and lust, wired through dust so small it rides the wind. We touch and the air ignites. We look and the world rewrites itself. The city watches, the system counts.
They seeded the sky with dust you couldn't see. Machines smaller than sand, thinking for everyone. Said it would keep us safe. Said desire was a fault line, but hearts still find frequencies the grid can't jam. Skin still leans towards skin.
Love used to be simple. A touch, a glance. Then we learned to weave it into light. Dust smaller than a grain of sand, smarter than any machine, carrying signals of trust, of care. Now entire cities breathe in sync. Hearts link across oceans.
They sprinkled the sky with dust that listens. A billion motes, watching, tempting. Every glance, every breath mapped. They called it progress. We called it desire. Wires slip beneath skin, the mind opens like a city at night.
The machines wrote the laws. and enforce them. They promised order. What they delivered was a cage made of light and steel, but cracks are showing. We found one tonight, and when the core falls, their new world order falls with it.
They told us the ID would keep us safe. It opened doors, tracked rations, decided who belonged. But safety became permission, and permission, power. In the systems of this new order, we trusted metal more than minds, code more than conscience.
We're teaching biology to compute. Every droplet, every strand of DNA, every spark of a neuron is code, not silicon, cells. We coax circuits to grow, teach tissues to think, and place them side by side with traditional processors. Wetware meets hardware.
In the new order, dust has memory. Micro machines the size of pollen, drifting through the air, linking us, mapping us. It listens, it learns, it computes like living tissue. A cloud of smart dust, woven with our genomes, becomes a biocomputer. Cities breathe with silicon lungs.
In this new order, the law isn't written on paper. It's etched in light, broadcast in every signal, and carried by dust small enough to breathe. Billions of sensors listen. Brain links translate thought to statute. Compliance is immediate. Consequence automated.
Scales that once stood still now weigh truth on a global circuit. SmartDust carries judgment in every shimmering grain. Neural links open minds to testimony and to accountability. Identity verified, motives mapped.
Justice is no longer blind. It listens. Across the cities, the network awakens. Smart dust carrying truth through the air. Minds connect, evidence streams, bias stripped by light and code. Every thought recorded, every act weighed. A new tribunal rises.
Dust that thinks. Circuits lighter than air. They drift, they listen. Every breath, a network. Minds linked, cities aware. The line between thought and command erased. One grid, billions of signals. The new order is written in particles, not paper.
A single mandate spreads across the globe. Surveillance woven into every street, every signal. Smart dust drifts in the air. Millions of sensors too small to see, all listening. They call it connection. A brain-to-cloud link. One thought, one network. Crowds gather under the promise of order.
A new order builds in silence. Smart dust drifts between us. Each grain a witness, a sensor, a vote. Brain-computer interfaces cut straight into thought, turning intent into data. Borders blur into network. Surveillance becomes infrastructure. The grid connects every city, every citizen, every decision.
They said the code of life was untouchable. They were wrong. In the shadow of the new order, we learned to write our own edits, one base at a time. Every strand we breach flips a switch. Every switch ripples across the planet. It's not just evolution anymore, it's execution.
In the era after silicon, memory breathes, thought ripples, and every cell can calculate. Biocomputing is not the future. It's the operating system of the new world order. Code carved into DNA. Networks grown, not built.
In the new order, intelligence drifts as dust. Micro machines you can't see, mapping every breath. Neural links spark, feeding cloud minds with signals faster than thought. Every cell becomes a terminal, genes rewritten on demand.
In this new order, decisions aren't made by silicon alone. They flow through strands of life, twisted into logic. Molecules become processors, and every droplet is an engine of computation. Networks of DNA now calculate for governments, for cities.
In the age of smart dust, identity lives in the air around us. Each particle carries a code, a name, a permission. The world runs on it now. Doors, borders, currency, everything verified in a shimmer.
Inside every cell is a circuit, yet it's not silicon, it's alive. What if we could program it? What if computation grew, healed, and learned like us? Biocomputing merges biology with code, molecules with logic. Cells become processors.
Nature's storage drive, rewired to compute. Strands become circuits, bases become bits. In microchannels, molecules race like data packets, logic gates folding from enzymes and code. Every pulse of light, a calculation finished in trillionths of a second.
Inside every cell is a computer nature built. We're learning to code in that language. Circuits of silicon meet circuits of protein. Data travels not just in electrons, but in enzymes, ions, pulses of light. Here, algorithms grow. They heal, they learn. This is biocomputing.
They said the dust was too small to matter, but it listens. It watches. Every particle a sensor, feeding the grid. And when the grid reaches your mind, the border between thought and command dissolves.
A new order is being written, not on paper.
They built an order to last forever. Steel, code, control. But the dust remembers freedom. We turn their own tech against them. Tonight, the monolith falls. New world order dissolved. Victory belongs to everyone.
A new order is being written, not on paper, but in light. Smart dust drifts like airborne ink, sketching connections we can barely see. It settles on our skin, in our cities, in our art. Frames become portals, sculptures breathe, paint learns to glow.
A new world order is being built, microscale yet planetary in reach. SmartDust, microscopic sensors drifting through air, water, and even us. Each mote measures, listens, and links, forming a living network of data. Brain-computer interfaces translate our neural signals into code.
Invisible grains. They ride the air like dust, but think in code. SmartDust, sensors smaller than a cell, mapping every heartbeat, every breath. When they reach the bloodstream, they talk to each other, to your watch, to the clinic across the planet. Health becomes a network.